If you clicked on this video, you want to know why you should vote for Jack Cittarelli over Mikie Sherrill on November 4th in 2025. In this video, I'm going to give you reasons on why you should vote for Jack Cittarelli over Mikie Sherrill yeah, let's get into it. So my first point is the Democratic Party has ran our country for over 25 years. Can you say your life has been any better? Most people think New Jersey has been kind of a bad place for the last couple of years, right? Big businesses are leaving to go to Florida. We're not a business state anymore. People are not coming here for their American dream, right? Prices are super high. That was all under Phil Murphy and the Democratic Party. They've ran our state. They've been descending in the House for the last 25 years. So if you want change, which most New Jerseyans do want change, including me, we should vote for change. That just makes more sense. We should all vote for change, right? And if you're going to keep doing the same thing like you're going to do with Mikie Sherrill, she's going to be Phil Murphy, but worse. It's proven. She has no plan, and I'm going to get into this I'm gonna get into this longer in my video and deeper in my video. I will explain. She has no plan. She's gonna do the same thing that Phil Murphy has done. There's no change. There's no change. And if you're gonna keep voting the same party, you're accepting that you don't want change. If you're not a Republican and you're a Democrat, but you're not liking the state of New Jersey, you should give it a shot. You should give it a shot. You should give Jack Cittarelli a shot. You should give the Republican Party a shot because they're the party of the business. They're the party of the economy. They're the party of safety. It's proven. Statistic proven. So if you want change in New Jersey, you have to vote for change. You have to change. You can't just say, well, New Jersey sucks. New Jersey sucks. But not actually vote for change at all. Instead, just complaining about it. That's not how you get change. You get change by actually voting for change or doing an action that you get change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you want to vote for Mikie Sherrill, expect the same thing. Expect for groceries to get higher. Expect for taxes to be through the roof. Expect for property taxes to be through the roof. Electric bill, everything's going to be through the roof. In our state, GDP is only 1.5. Our inflation rate is 1.4. Do you want our GDP to stay stagnant, or do you want our economy to flourish like it used to? If you have to vote for change, and I beg you to vote for Jack Cittarelli. That's why I'm making this video. If you're a parent and your kid comes home and he's transgender, but you don't know about it, you're not going to know about it. That's what Mikie Sherrill supports. Mikie Sherrill supports not telling the parents. Mikie Sherrill actually supports telling the teachers, a stranger, instead of the parents. If you're a parent, do you believe that you know your child best, besides obviously the child itself, but do you know your child best? You would agree, right? And on Earth, you're the person that know your child the best because you live with him every single day. So why would you let a teacher decide that? Mikie Sherrill supports not telling the parents. Policy 5756. She supports policy 5756. She doesn't support parents. She's not for the parents. So was Phil Murphy. Phil Murphy doesn't believe in policy 5756. I believe in policy 5756. This is a big problem that we have in New Jersey. First of all, it's not like many kids are really changing their gender in high school. It's really more like outside of high school. You really think about it. But if you're from 17 and back, you have to know. That's your parent. You can't sign. A person below 18 years old can't sign anything. I think in New Jersey, 16 years old, but even then, you don't really have consent until you're 16 years old in New Jersey. So why before then do a teacher get to know before the parents? And then you can keep it a secret for months and years, or the kid can go out, being a girl, go in the girls' bathrooms, play in women's sports, but the parent never knows. And if the parent does know, the school doesn't tell them. There's no way that should happen. And this happens in many other things, like big things. They will not tell the parents. Doing that will, first of all, hurt relations between parents and kids. which in bad cities, there's already a broken family, and saying that all parents are dangerous, that's really stereotypical and that's really really bad. We cannot be just judging all parents because there's some of them that will get mad, but they will never hurt their kid because that's their kid. A good parent will not hurt their kid. Okay, and I believe that a 6-year-old does not have and this actually is moral. A 6-year-old does not have the right or the capability to change their gender. They're 6 years old. I wanted to be a princess when I was 6 years old. Every kid, kids dressed up in princess things at 6 years old. That's normal. They're 6 years old. Can they change their gender at 6 years old permanently? Do these gender changing surgeries? No. Hell no. Hell no. No way. But you support that. You support high enough for the parents. That's such a horrible thing. There's no way in any society that can. And if you're a parent and you believe in parental rights, there's no way you should be voting for the Democratic Party. Point 3, it's education plan. Mikie Sherrill has no education plan at all. I'm gonna keep it honest. And I've watched all of her debates, all of her interviews. She really doesn't have any plan. Her plan is the same thing as Phil Murphy. And Phil Murphy, we went from the second best education to the 12th. 12. That's 10. That's 10. That's bad. Phil Murphy completely ruined our state's education. We were one of the most educated states in the world, not in the world, actually in the world, and in the most of all in the United States. How do we drop 10 points from that? Because they failed our kids. They failed me. Phil Murphy failed me because most of my life was under his rule, but he did such a bad job, right? Most of our kids don't read at grade level. I didn't read until grade level until I was in 8th grade. And there's still kids in my school that can't even read at their grade level. They can barely read a book. I could barely read 1984. That's saying something. I need an audiobook for 1984 because they don't teach us reading, they don't teach us math. I can't do most of our generation can't do math off the top of their head unless they're really smart. Most of them don't. We need a calculator for everything. We need AI for everything. Right? That's how they failed us. They stopped doing phonics up to 4th grade, which is horrible. That's another dumb thing Phil Murphy pushed. And they care more about the pronouns and LGBTQ in schools than actually fixing our education. That's what she said, quote for quote, word for word. Parents have a lot of opting out. They can opt out of sex education and health critical, but this is something they can't opt out on. Being a gay, what you do in the bedroom is not important, especially when you're 15 years old or 16 or 17 or 18. It's not important, all right? It's not important. What's actually important is doing stuff to actually help our kids read and do math at grade level, do write at grade level, to spell at grade level. That's more important than actually pushing LGBTQ in our schools. Again, what you do in the bedroom, I don't care. Right? Obviously, I believe you're sinning from a Catholic, but I would never look at a gay person differently. Never. Never. But we shouldn't, and the regular gay guy doesn't want this all pushed into schools. Scott Spretzler is one of them. We shouldn't be pushing this in schools, and that's what Mikie Sherrill wants to do. She wants to push this in school and actually not focus on the big problem, which is art education sucks. Jack Cittarelli's plan for education is I like it, right? Which is if you're behind, you will from just say in 4th grade you're not reading up to 4th grade level, you will do nothing else besides reading. That gets you up to grade level. That makes so much sense. I don't know how people don't think this. That doesn't cross your mind. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Instead of actually pushing LGBTQ in our schools, we can actually do something. He has a plan. He said keep the LGBTQ out of the schools, and keep all this dumb stuff out of the school, but actually have a plan to help our kids get back into being normal again. Again, the plan is to grades 1 through 4, or not even 1 through 4. I don't know what exact grade level, but If you're behind on reading, you're behind on spelling, you're behind on phonics, you're behind on whatever it is, you will do nothing else but then what you're behind at, which will ultimately lead you to actually getting up to your grade level. And then when you're actually, in 12th grade, you can actually be a functioning human being. That's what they failed us, because most of our kids can't read at grade level. Next, Jack Cittarelli wants no state tax for no state income tax for kids that are 2 years out of high school or college, and no state taxes for seniors 70 and above. First of all, I'm gonna focus on the first part of that, which is no state income tax for kids 2 years out of high school and college. That's really gonna help me, because I graduate in 2028, and I can actually use that. Can actually help me get me started. I have an entrepreneurial mindset, and many people like me do. But even people that want to go to college, and 2 years after that, they're getting hit with all these state income tax, plus being a mountain of student loan debt. You're taking half your money, pretty much. That in New Jersey has one of the highest taxes, state taxes, and he wants to get, for the first 2 years, he wants to stop that, which is amazing. That's going to help kids get actually going and making money. And also, when you do that, when you lower taxes, this is basic things. When you lower taxes, you have more people actually spending money, which in result boosts the GDP, would boost the economy, because people are actually buying stuff. People are actually making stuff here. That's the goal. We gotta get people making stuff here, so we can actually really boost our GDP. But honestly, the buying and selling really helps, because now you have more money to spend. Because when people have extra money, what are they gonna do? They're gonna spend it. They're not gonna just keep it in their bank account. And even if they do, they put it into a savings account that still helps the economy. They put it into an investment club that still helps the economy. So, and there's no way that raising taxes that's gonna help, right? And especially on kids that are just 2 years out of high school, and they're getting amount student debt, and they have to, pay these extra taxes. 50% of their money is just going right to the government. Now, I support federal taxes for your kids my age, but state taxes, no way. And I agree with that 100%. Instead, Mikie Sherrill wants to raise your taxes so they can use it for dumb stuff, which is like LGBTQ pushing, and they're not helping the state at all. Second part of this is 70 years old. You're retired, hopefully. I think you're retired, and the average lifespan, if you're going to average lifespan, you have 10 years left. And if you don't spend that money, the government's going to take it all. So I think that's a horrible thing. Imagine working your whole life, and this happened to so many people, where you just retired and the government takes all your money. Especially for people that have stock investments, right? Well, my plan is, I'm putting money into the S&P 500, and by the time I'm 50 or 60, I'm going to be a millionaire and I can retire, right? People have done that, and then they get taxed a lot more. In New Jersey, I think it's almost 10%, 10 to 15% of just taxing millionaires and more. When you're 70 years old, you should not be getting taxed, and your money should not be getting taken away. Federal taxes, I can even see that. I can see that keeping, but when you're taking an extra 10%, right, which is already a lot. You're taking already 50% of their money, and they're not making that much income. So, I 100% agree in taking that. We should be lowering electricity bill. We should be lowering all this, especially for our seniors, because there's a lot of seniors that have to go back and work their last couple of years in life, because they can't stay retired anymore. The amount of people that in New Jersey, especially, that have to unretire because the taxes is too much and taking their money. I 100% agree with that. I think if you're a senior, 100% your vote should go to Jack Cittarelli. Now here's the big one. In debate, their first debate before the actual national debate, she said that she's not going to tell anyone her plan. She's not going to tell anyone her plan. So why would you vote for her? Common sense. Why would you vote for her? If she has no plan, why would you ever vote for her? She has no plan. She literally said, "I'm not going to tell you guys my plan." And when she was asked if you're able to pass one piece of one policy. She didn't have one. She didn't have one. She didn't have one policy which she wanted to pass. Because she doesn't have a plan. She's just gonna do the same thing Phil Murphy did. Maybe a little bit more emphasis on LGBTQ. If you really want that, go ahead, vote for Cheryl. But if you want change and you want a person with an actual plan, that's what Jack Cittarelli has. Mikie Sherrill she's multiple interviews where she doesn't actually describe her plan. She just does that. She just says some BS, or she just attacks her opponent, Jack Cittarelli. Which that's what Democrats do a lot now. Or their whole campaign is just attacking their opponent. She has no plan at all. Nothing. No plan. She's admitted it on live television that she's not going to let anyone know her plan at all, her economic plan. So again, if you want that, go ahead and vote for her. I mean, free country. But if you generally want, okay, so my mic died, so I had to get this mic right here. She has no plan. She has no economic plan at all. If you want to vote for the same thing, go ahead, vote for the same thing. But if you want change, you want a better economic, you want better safety, you want better all this, vote for Jack Cittarelli. He's gonna change it. And if he doesn't, then both parties suck. But I believe that we need change. And Chris Christie for his first term was really good, and he was a Republican. And most Republican governors are pretty good. Most Democrat governors usually suck, right? Maybe Josh Pierre is one of the only good ones, but most of them suck. So to conclude this video, I would say, if you want change, you need to vote change. If you want change, you have to vote change. And most New Jerseyans believe they are not approved with this at all. If you want change, the one goal, we have an election, you have to vote change. So please, if you want change, I'm asking you, please vote for Jack Cittarelli in 2025, November 4th. God bless.